Hello and welcome back to another session of Grammar Forward. I'm Sonia. In today's video, we are going to take up yet another verb tense that belongs to the group of the most advanced verb tenses, namely the past perfect tense. Do you want to use this tense with confidence and ease? If so, watch the video till the end and get ready to master the past perfect tense. Compared to the present perfect tenses, the past perfect tense is quite an easy tense to understand and to use. This tense talks about the past in the past. That is, it's used to refer to an event that happened before another event in the past. Let me use this timeline to explain it better. So imagine now at present it is 6 p.m. And before now, in the past, there are two actions that took place. One is at 5 p.m. That is, then I reached the station. And before that, at 4 p.m., the train left. So when I talk about these two actions as a part of a sequence, in order to make it clear that this action happened before the second one, I will use the past perfect tense here. Let me give you an idea of the form of the past perfect tense. So here is the form. You have had plus verb 3. Verb 3 means the past participle form of the verb. So here you remember the example we had with the help of the timeline, and here you have it on a board. The train had left when I reached the station. So with the first action, I used the past perfect tense, had left, and with the second event, I used the simple past. And here I have rewritten the sentence by reversing the order of the events. So here I wrote, when I reached the station, the train had left. So it's clear that it doesn't matter in which order the events are given. You can write it in both ways, but the verb tense used itself makes it clear which event happened first. By now you already know that the form that we use with the past perfect tense is had plus V3, that is had plus the past participle form of the verb. Now let's see how the positive, the negative and the questions are formed using this verb tense. So starting with the positive sentences, you have I had returned. So here the subject pronoun I used is I, and here you have I had returned. Here the second sentence is she had planned. So she is again singular and you have had planned. So irrespective of whether it is singular or plural subject, and irrespective of whether it is first person or second person or third person, we always have the same form used here, had plus the V3. Now, how to form the negatives? We just add the word not in between had and the past participle. So here you have, they had not arrived. He had not phoned. Now, in order to make the yes or no question, you know that you just have to change or reverse the order of the words. So here it is, I had returned, and a question will be, had you returned? You know that when I ask a question, I will be changed to you. So you have had you returned. Here it is, she had planned. So in order to make the question, I exchange these two words. So I have had she planned. And how do I make a WH question? I just add the WH word that I need here in front of the yes or no question. So in this case, had you returned? And maybe I'm talking about a time that you returned. And then I may say, when had you returned? Or here in this case, had she planned? And I can ask the question word, what had she planned? Please don't forget that whether we use the past perfect tense with regular or irregular verbs, the form used is the same. It's always had plus the past participle form of the verb. But then, if it's a regular verb, the past participle and the past tense of that verb will be the same. And the spelling rules depend on the verbs themselves. For example, for most verbs, you just have to add ed. For example, in the case of jump, you just add ed and you have jumped. The same happens with other verbs like paint or call. called and painted. But if the verb ends in a consonant followed by a vowel followed by a consonant, you will have to double the last letter and add ed. Example, if the verb is stop, you know that it's a single syllable verb and you have T, which is a consonant, O is a vowel, and P, which is again a consonant. In this case, you will have to double the last letter P, so you have double P and ed is added. And if the verb ends in an E, you just have to add the letter D. Thus, with the verb like, you add D, so you have liked. The same happens with live or with dance. It becomes danced with a single D added at the end. And if the verb ends in a Y, you will have to replace that Y with an I and then add ed. So here is the example, hurry, it becomes hurried. The same happens with cry, it becomes cried with C-R-I-E-D as a spelling. But in the case of irregular verbs, the story is completely different. Here the past participles are formed in all sorts of ways. So here you have some examples. In the case of bring, the past participle is brought. Come, it is come, but you know that the past tense is came and the past participle is again come. Eat, the V3 form is eaten. Know, it is known. Teach becomes taught. Make becomes made. And in the case of have, the past participle is had. Now let's focus on the formation of contractions. So here you have the positive sentence, I had eaten. And how do we contract it? You put these two words together. So, and you remove HA. So you have I'd eaten. She had come becomes she had come. He had gone is he had gone. We had stopped is we had stopped. They had bought is they had bought. And you had arrived is you had arrived. And how do you form the short form of the negative sentence? So I had not eaten becomes I hadn't eaten. She hadn't come, and so on. Moving on to the next part of the lesson, and let's see when the past perfect tense is used. So here is the first case. We use it to refer to an action or an event that happened before another action or an event in the past. Here you have two examples. The first one, I had saved the document before the computer crashed. So the first action was saving the document. So I have used the past perfect tense here. And for the second event, I have used simple past. In the next example, when I got home, the children had slept. So the children sleeping was the first event. That's why I used the past perfect tense there. That was followed by the second action, getting home. So here I used past simple. Here is the second situation in which we use this tense. So we use the past perfect tense also to describe an action that happened before a specific time in the past. And here we have two examples. They will make it clearer for you. They had had their dinner by 10 o'clock. Let's focus on the time phrase I've used here, by 10 o'clock. So that shows that we are talking about a specific time in the past. That's why I've used the past perfect tense here. So the sentence goes like this. They had had their dinner by 10 o'clock. Does this part sound a bit odd for you? They had had their dinner? Then let me explain it for you. You know that the form of the past perfect tense is had plus V3. So this had is a part of that form. You have had and the V3 is again had. That's because the verb I've used here is have. And have here has the meaning take the food or eat the food. So if the verb I had used was eat, if it was eat, I would have used here the V3 of eat, which is eaten. But here, since I used another verb for eat, which is have, the V3 of have is had. That's why we have they had had their dinner by 10 o'clock. And the next example is she had never been to an opera before last night. Again, before last night is a time phrase which shows that we are talking about a time, a particular time in the past. So we have to use the past perfect tense, but I've used it in the negative form. Instead of using not, I used she had never been to an opera before last night. And here the verb I've used is be, so I used the past participle form, which is been. The past perfect tense can also be used to describe cause and effect. And in this case, it's always paired with simple past tense. So here you have two examples. I was stuck in the traffic because there had been an accident. So this happened because of something else happening before that. That's why for the first action I used the past perfect tense. And you know that been is the past participle form of be. Then she got high marks because she had studied hard. So this is the effect and the cause is that she had studied hard first and that resulted in her getting high marks. Now let's look at some of the key words used with the past perfect tense. So here I have written the most commonly used key words: before, after, when, and by the time. And we also use some expressions, especially adverbs with the past perfect tense, and they are for, since, already, just yet, never, ever, and still. As a part of consolidation, let's take up this exercise where you are going to use the correct form of the given verbs. So here we start with the first sentence. We start cooking when they arrived. Here you can see that you have the key word when, so it's clear that we have to use the past perfect tense for the first action. So which is the first action? We start cooking when they arrived. So that is the second event and the first action is this. So here I have to use start in the past perfect tense. So the answer will be we had started cooking when they arrived. Now here is a second sentence. He be very tired because he hadn't slept well. So here in this sentence I am using the past perfect tense to talk about a cause and the effect. So here is a cause and because of that, that result happened. So I have used the past perfect tense to talk about the effect. So here I have to use the simple past tense. So the verb is be and the past simple form is was because I am talking about he, which is a singular subject. So here the answer is was. He was very tired because he hadn't slept well. Now moving on to the third one. They sell the car before they moved to the new city. In this case, the key word is before. And before they moved to the new city, this took place. So this is the first action. So definitely I have to use here the past perfect tense. So this will become they had sold. Keep in mind that sell is an irregular verb. So the past participle form is not just ed added to the verb. It is another word that is sold. The fourth sentence, I just eat, so I be not feeling hungry. So you'll have to correct both the verbs here. I just eat. You know that we always use the word just with the past perfect tense. So here I have to change it into the past perfect form. So eat will become I had just eaten. So here please note that I inserted the adverb just between had and the past participle. So you have I had just eaten, so I be not feeling hungry. So there I have to use the simple past tense. So that will be I was not feeling hungry. Let's move to the fifth sentence now. How many goals the team scored before the match was cancelled? So before the match was cancelled. So this is the second action. That's why I have used the past simple tense here. So here I have to use the past perfect tense. How many goals the team scored? But you know that this is a question. So I have to use it in the different way. How many goals had the team scored. You know that when you have a WH or a yes or no question, you will first have the had, and then you have the subject, and then you have the past participle. So here you have how many goals had the team scored before the match was cancelled. And the last sentence, after he joined the new company, John became more focused. So after he joined the new company, hereafter is the key word. So what is the first action here? Of course, this is what happened first, and then this change happened to him. So I have used there the simple past became, because that is the second action, and the first one is join. So here I will use after he had joined the new company, John became more focused. Thank you for watching my video, and I believe this lesson will help you in using the past perfect tense with confidence. If you found this video interesting, please do like it and share it with your friends. And if you are new with me, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So meet you in the next session. Goodbye until then. Take care and stay safe.